Learn how easy it can be to use self-service data discovery and access management with Microsoft Purview this week on Data Exposed. Hi, I'm Anna Hoffman, and welcome to this episode of Data Exposed. Today, I'm joined by two special folks from the Microsoft Purview team, Naga and Blesson. Naga, why don't you kick us off by introducing yourself?
Hey, hello everyone. This is Naga Yanavandra. I'm a product manager in Microsoft Purview working on platform and catalog capabilities.
Awesome. Blesson?
Hello, everyone. I'm Blesson John. I work as a product manager within Microsoft Purview's data policy team.
Awesome, cool. So you all are the exact right people. We're going to be talking about self-service data discovery and access management using Microsoft Purview. Now, for me, it's kind of a mouthful. So maybe we start off by Blesson. Can you tell us what this is and what it means?
Sure. One of the key assets within any organization is basically data. However, for businesses to gain insight or value from the data that they hold, two things must happen. The first is the end user or the data consumer must be able to discover the relevant data. And the second is basically they must be able to request access to that relevant data. And there should be a transparent and efficient process to give them access. With Microsoft Purview, we store the metadata information of the data within a customer's or the organization's data estate. And what we also allow is a search capability for the data consumers to go and search for the relevant information. Once they have found this information, they can request access to that data, which triggers a workflow. These workflows are called self-service workflows. And upon approval of these workflow, a self-service policy gets generated, which gives read access to the data consumer. We currently support the end-to-end process. As you can see over here, we go through the discovery phase and then somebody requests access. And through to granting access, all of that piece is automated for Azure SQL DB tables and views, as well as storage accounts where you have folders and files. I'll pass it over to Naga to explain how the workflow works.
Thank you, Blesson. So Workflows is a platform capability in Microsoft Purview that enable customers to orchestrate their CUD operations, validation, and approvals of different data artifacts using repeatable business processes. This results in high-quality data, user collaboration, and change awareness in their organization. Now, in order to create workflows, we go into the Management Center. And as you can see, there is this authoring, request, and approvals, and workflow runs. So to create any new workflow, we click on this authoring tab. And we click on the new button. Like Blesson was explaining, self-service data access workflow is a special type of workflow that automates the approval process to grant access to the data consumers within less than 2 or few clicks. To set up a self-service data access workflow, we click on governance and we click on continue. Now, as you can see here, Microsoft Purview provides templates to the customers to bootstrap their workflow authoring experiences. The idea of template is just as a starting point, but you can customize it to suit your governance needs. So you click on this template, click continue, and you give it a name, a brief description, and continue. And this is the template provided by the Purview, right? So what you see here is it's a very simple template. What it does is when a request for access is submitted, the workflow triggers, it waits for an approver. Let me add myself as an approver here. And once approved, it checks if the source is registered with the policy usage, which Blesson was talking a few minutes ago. And if it is approved, it automatically creates a self-service access, which is this grant access button. If it is not governed by policy, Microsoft Purview still makes the life of the data consumer very easy by providing them the ability to create a task within the workflow, which can be assigned to a data IT admin or a DBA, so that they can go outside Purview and grant access to the requester, but still Purview becomes a central place where all the requests are originated. You have the logging, you have the audit and everything. And finally, they get an email saying that, hey, your request is either approved, or in case if the request is denied, still they get an email, like you can see here, if the request is denied, which is a rejection email. Once the workflow is defined, then we bind the workflow to a different scope. Now, Purview has this concept of collections, which allows customers to group their different data assets for access control as well as organizing them. Now, you can bind a workflow to one collection, and what really it means is all the data assets within that collection will trigger that workflow.
Nice. That's pretty cool. Also, it seems like really easy to get set up, and I love that there's already a template. One quick question I had is it just one workflow per organization, or how does that work?
Great question, Anna. Microsoft Purview does provide flexibility in two ways. One, you can have different workflows for different collections. And what that really means is, let's say Europe data centers has a different approvals than America data centers. You can have completely different workflows, completely different condition, different set of approvals for this. Also, since collection is a hierarchical model, Purview does provide the ability to have a default workflow set up at a higher level and then overrides at the lower level. So what that really means in the backend is, if there is no workflow defined at Europe data centers and there is one at the Adatum, when a request is made to any data set within the Europe data centers, it looks for the direct binding. If it is found, great. If not, then it travels up in the hierarchy to find the nearest workflow. So this means that you can always have a default workflow set up at the root collection and have special workflows for your PI data or more secure data at the lower collections.
Wow, love that granularity. It's awesome.
Yeah. Now we have defined this workflow, and I will hand it over to Blesson. He will walk through the process of how to request access and how the life of the data consumers becomes really easy with Microsoft Purview.
Thanks, Naga. So I've logged into Microsoft Purview, and I'm going to search for the customer table. You'll be able to see that there are quite a few customer tables, but I'm looking for one that is within, say, SQL, and I'm finding it over here. I look at the properties and the schema. It looks like the one that I need, and I can check out whether I can log into this. So I open up SSMS, provide the connection details, try connecting, and it fails. So I know that I don't have access. And what I need to do is request access to this data. I'm requesting access on behalf of myself, and I will send the request. Now, Naga, who is the workflow admin and receives the approval request, would walk us through how the approval cycle works.
Thank you. So when any request is made, all the requests are tracked in this request and approvals tab. So if we go here, you can see there are three sections to this one. My pending request is where everything you have originated, you can see. So like in this case with one Blesson, if goes into my pending request, he can see the request which he has originated. Waiting for a response is from approver's perspective. So like in this case, I am the approver for the request which Blesson has made, and I can see here that there is this one, which is self-service workflow name. It is pending. It is requested by Blesson. And as you can see, it is just requested now. So I click on this workflow name. I can see, I can click on the value to make sure that that's the right table. Yeah, this looks like the right one because I know that this customer table is part of this Europe sales database, and this is the one Blesson needs to access to do his work. And I approve it. Additionally, I just place the comments, looks good, and I just confirm it. Approval connectors also have email capabilities built within. So anytime an approval request is made from the workflow, it also sends an email which is delivered to your Outlook, and you can also click on the approve link in the email, which will redirect us to here. Now, this is a data source I know that is governed by the self-service policy. So once it is approved, it would have created a self-service policy. So let's check out whether it did create a self-service policy. So I click on this data policy tab. I go to the self-service policies, and there you go. So this is the one which was created just a second ago. by requester name is Blesson, and I know that this is the one I just approved for, and the policy is created. So everything looks great from the Purview perspective. So Blesson, can you check? If you can access the customer table?
Sure. So I bring back the SMS. Last time I was not able to connect to it. This time I'm able to connect to it. Now, the key thing to note is I should only be seeing one table out here because I was granted access to just the customer table. I shouldn't be seeing anything else. So as this processes, we'll just wait for it to complete. You can see that I'm having access just to the sales LT table, customer table, nothing else. I should be able to issue a select statement, and it should return the results. So you can see, to conclude, the workflow process has automated the entire process from requesting access through to granting read permission to the data customers or consumers.
Awesome, cool. I love the end-to-end workflow, and I love how easy it seemed like it was to get it all set up, and then for you to go ahead and request access for yourself. One final question as we wrap up: can self-service types of policies be used without workflows, or do you need a workflow to make that work?
So in order to kick off any self-service policy to be created on data sources, Azure SQL DB or storage, at the moment, the self-service workflow has to be present, which in turn triggers the creation of self-service policies.
Got it. That makes sense. Awesome. Well, Blesson, Naga, thanks so much for coming on the show. I believe we're going to put some links in the description for viewers to learn more. If you're a viewer and you like this episode, go ahead, give it a like, leave us a comment, and let us know what you think. And we hope to see you next time on Data Exposed.